Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you the most overpowered Rafa build in Borderlands 4 for Ultimate Vault Hunter 6 and taking on Bloomreaper the Invincible. Now the trick here is we can use two different weapons for this first phase to jet through it real quick because we gotta watch out for these orbs here. Using this weapon it did explode in my face. I keep exploding my face, but you get the idea. We can clear this first phase extremely quickly here. And then as we get back into the next phase here, my recommendation is to actually dodge to the side of this beam while you're blasting away with your bod there, and you can see again, this is just such a powerful weapon. Unfortunately, if you want to get the platinum time in Ultimate Vault Hunter 6, this is a strategy you got to use because he's going into this invulnerability phase for 23 more seconds. With yesterday's patch, it's actually never been easier to get yourself a bod, as well as the Dark Beast. These two weapons are going to be some of the best because this one got a recent buff that made it actually crazy, giving it 4 times more likely chance to explode, on top of buffing the damage. Now, for the skills we'll be going through, I think a combination of his red and blue skill tree is best so that we're not getting too much gun handling losses from the gun damage increases we got here. And on one of their latest patches, they actually made it so Sotaldo can actually give us even further increased overdrive benefits, which encompasses a lot of the abilities here, like La Garza there, Al Centro, so we get a lot of gun handling, making... Hey everyone, Jay from the future here. Unfortunately, my power went out, but we're going to start from the top with the deft hands. Now, if you're starting from the early game, I'd actually recommend City Air here because that gun damage increase is nice, but the fire rate is much better when we get to the later game because of Bullet Buddy Deluxe, our augment that we're going to be using, because this lets us use Torgue stickies and scale their damage up to crazy amounts, and this allows us to take out pretty much any boss in the game. This also takes us down to the next choice, and we want Herga here because whenever we critically hit an enemy, we're going to restore our action skill duration. This is a cooldown of 4 seconds, but we can get this up to 15% restored every 4 seconds, keeping us in our action skill a lot longer. And we're going to take 3 points at El Valiente, which will give us increased damage dealt from all sources, the fuller our shields are, and then we're going to put 2 points into the increased skill damage here just to boost up the Peacebreaker cannons. Now with the class mod that we're going to be using, we don't need to take the Overdrive here. We're going to go with the Barrage, which will give us increased splash damage, and this is an Overdrive skill, meaning that this will scale up even greater at higher levels. We're then going to take Temerario. This is super powerful because it gives us increased gun damage per second. So it's going to stack up to 70%, and we lose 70% gun handling, but we're going to deal with that with our blue skill tree. And after this, I would recommend coming down to the Soldado here to give ourselves even further increased overdrive benefits when we get a kill. And if you get a class mod, this can take this up even further. This also gives us our capstone, the volatile hollow points, which replaces our cannons with rockets that deal splash damage. Again, that's going to scale up in terms of its damage the further we're in overdrive. And since we got Soldado there, it actually boosts up our overdrive skills even further. And as much as I like the red skill tree, it's best for us to go into his blue skill tree next because there's so many powerful abilities here. We got a lot of overdrive benefits right at the start here. The best one is the Thrill. Fire rate, again, being so powerful, since we get infinite ammo, it doesn't really matter. This gives us 18% fire rate and 12% when we're overdrive, but this scales up really quickly when we get our Sotaldo and our other benefits flying. Now for the next choice, there's a few good ones, like we could go with the Las Aras there, which is give us regenerated ammo when we're in overdrive, but we have Bullet Buddy Deluxe, so it's not super useful. There's also the Rinse here to give ourselves increased reload speed, and this counts outside of our Bullet Buddy Deluxe and action skill. I'm just going to go with the Las Aras there. It's kind of, we have to go with something here because we need to get down to the lower picks here where we're going to take Al Centro. This is an overdrive skill, so it's going to get increased when we get kills as well, and we get increased gun handling and action skill handling when overdrive is active. It's more so the gun handling we care about. The longer overdrive is being active, the greater the bonus. That's 5% per second, helping out with our Temerario because it offsets the, a little bit offset. We want to then come down to the right-hand side, which we can take La Garza, which will further increase our gun handling, and this one's an overdrive skill, so that we're going to further increase that, and it also gives us the action skill handling, so pretty useful. Not that our action skill needs the handling here, but Jock and Mate are pretty useful. But this one is really nice because this lets us do a lot of hip firing with some of the more powerful weapons and don't have to worry too much about aiming them. And then we can go down here and take Deadline. This is another overdrive skill that increases our fire rate and also increases our reload speed, but it's really that fire rate that we want. It's going to stack with the Thrill, and it's going to stack with Deft Hands to make our gun shoot really fast, which works perfectly with the Devastating Dancer class mod. Now, there's a lot of rolls that you can get on this, and you just really want to get the Soldado +1. If you could get like a +5 in Temerario, that'd be good too. It's just not the roll that I had. I have one here that gives me health regeneration based on how much overdrive time's left, and that'll also scale up, so it can actually make you kind of tanky later on. And this one also gave points into the Thrill for a faster fire rate. Ideally, the green one doesn't really matter. We'd want more into the red and the blue, but that's just the one that I got. This also gets 40% kinetic damage and action skill cooldown rate. Now, for our shield, Watch for Dinner is just the best shield in the game, so that's a really good one. You could also go with something like the protein cell. This breaks through our shield and does extra shock damage, so it's going to be higher damage. Just riskier. If you're a really good player, you could go with that. And if you're mobbing, the fireworks is great too. This would be a little bit better if it had the siphon on it. I really like the siphon, especially for Rafa here, just to make sure that you can keep up the overshield. But you can also go with the drain as well. That's going to give you a high damage. Now, I went with this one for the enhancement because with this one, it's actually going to scale really well with the bod because it increased the fire rate per bullet fired, and this bullet fires 5 bullets per shot, so that's 50 stacks, and it gives you a lot of fire rate really quickly. And this also gives you increased reload or damage on reload, and then this one just came with the gun damage increases. I really like this, but you can go with the Jacob's enhancement, the bounce pass on the Dark Beast. That's going to be really good for the first phase. I just found this one was really powerful, especially with the bod and how powerful that weapon is. Now, I went with the Vivisecting Throwing Knife for the critical hits. You kind of want this for this build because at the first, we're going to throw it to set up the Dark Beast because this will Jacob's License chain around to multiple enemies. So this is a good weapon for that. The new Jet Setter is pretty fun too. I like that. And even the Scully actually works decently well. If you got a Waterfall Grenade or if even some of the other heavy ordnances like the Disc Jockey, that's a good one too. I went with the triple bypass and speed. 40% movement speed is really fun on Rafa because, yeah, you could get zooming with this. You could go with one that's going to give you leech, though, for the lifesteal. That's also nice. You can use the Timekeeper's new shield, and the amp is good, too, but I love the movement speed. And for weapons, I love using the Wombo combo because this is great for vile enemies if you don't want to use the Dark Beast, but just a really powerful weapon, especially with their setup. It can get firing really quickly. Bonnie and Clyde is a really fun weapon as well. Its recent buff made it very powerful, and you can keep switching between the two modes. If you get the assault rifle with infinite ammo, it actually shreds down every single boss in the game. You want to get a kill first with the shotgun, and then switch to the assault rifle because it gives it that 150% extra damage, and it's very powerful. Dark Beast, as we know, and Bod are two of the best. But you can also use the Queen's Rest because the Toric stickies from this, especially with Jacob's License accessory, are very powerful. The Phantom Flame works really well because you can shoot it extremely quickly. And if you can get a Ripper part 7th Sense, this is a very powerful weapon as well. And one of the fun things is this weapon here. It's really powerful when you go to reload because it's going to shoot projectiles through enemies. Yeah, this weapon is actually pretty crazy when you're going into bosses. This is the 7th Sense weapon there. Basically what it does is going to put pellets behind, you saw it right there, the pellets go behind the enemy, and then when you reload, they fly through the enemy and pull it down like that, and it does crazy amounts of damage. This thing is absolutely absurd on Rafa, especially with this build, because we can use the Bullet Buddy Deluxe. But the Dark Beast is really good too, especially when you get a few kills, because then your fire rate just goes through the roof. Now, these enemies are strong against the corrosive damage, but it's still doing a pretty good job because this stuff is actually pretty crazy. So another thing with this setup is you can actually get your gun damage going extremely high. Now, with this, you typically want to find the most high health enemy here, and you're going to throw the critical hit knife at them and just let those critical hits bounce around because the Dark Beast has that chaining, and it also has bullets that'll pierce through, so you can actually line up some pretty crazy shots. And we can get our gun damage going upwards of 500+%, even higher than that. Damage dealt plus 55%. Skill damage increases quite crazy. So that's the thing is once this build gets going, it actually starts rolling, and you can take down Bloomreaper really quickly because you got that infinite ammo there. The bod just shreds through the large portion of the health bar. But yeah, if you're just doing general mobbing, the Dark Beast is such a great weapon just for that chaining ability, and the infinite ammo increased fire rates do get pretty crazy too. So yeah, that is an extremely powerful Rafa build in Borderlands 4. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. This is honestly one of my favorite builds in the entire game just because it's so strong. It's pretty tanky, not as tanky as like a Vex build, but hey, it's going to do a lot more damage a lot quicker. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below if you enjoyed, and we'll see you all in the next one.